Okay, I've just found a bit of a jetty here that's probably needs a bit of a maintenance thing, but it's pretty solid, so hopefully I won't fall in the water. So that's Listerfield Lake Car Park over there, if anyone knows where Listerfield is. It's quite nice actually. I'm trying to work out whether this is a reservoir or not, because you're allowed to swim in it and do boating, so I'm guessing it's fine. As long as the fish eat all the stuff we put in it that's not supposed to be there. Oh great, another aeroplane. At least this one's quieter. So PHP, a server-side programming language, and the next 4 weeks, so let me get this right, 8, 9, 10, 11, yep. The next 4 weeks will be spent on PHP programming. Now the good news is, even though it's a different language, there are some similarities with JavaScript, but the main issue is understanding where the code is running. So understanding that JavaScript runs on the client side, on the client's machine and is with the client interacting in real time, that's really good. Once you get that concept, then JavaScript works really well with you. However, PHP, it actually runs on the server and is nowhere near the client. So what happens is a client will make a request from the server and maybe send some post data or get data, but we'll be really looking at post data from a form. Now, once that data is received, the first thing PHP needs to do is process that information. So this is a bit like when an order comes into a restaurant kitchen. The chef needs to read what's been ordered, and will then do the preparation, and only after all the processing, all that pre-processing has been done, should you start preparing any HTML code. So this is an important distinction, and we'll also be looking at what happens if a request comes in from a page that is not allowed. Can you just quietly redirect the user to another page which they're supposed to be at? So you've probably had this experience. You may have had a logged in page in your banking, internet banking account, and it's forwarded you back to the home page because you haven't been logged in. So this is just a taste of what is coming with server-side programming with PHP. So as I said before, JavaScript is great for real-time interaction, friendliness, not bothering the server with useless requests. But of course, you can't really check usernames and passwords using JavaScript. JavaScript would need access to that data, and if JavaScript's got access to it on the client's machine, that means the client's got access to that data. So there's a lot of information that needs to stay on the server, and the server needs to then make a decision as to what sort of a page is coming back to the client. So security issues, what else is important for PHP? And also, there are bad people out there. There's a small number of people who'll be playing with your forms, maybe for fun, but maybe for other reasons. And they'll be trying to insert stuff into your server. So this is another thing we need to do. A lot of that client-side form checking, we need to repeat that on the server side just to catch that 1% of the population that, for whatever reason, don't have JavaScript enabled. So they might just be people that don't have JavaScript enabled. But more often than not these days, it's basically someone trying to hack into a server. And when we're testing out your PHP script, we'll be playing around with your website. We'll be trying to break in to core teaching and see what we can do. So that's what the 4 weeks of PHP will be dedicated to. So the first couple of weeks, well, the first week will be about getting you acquainted with the code, drawing analogies between JavaScript and PHP. So if you understand JavaScript, we give you a bit of a, if you like, a translation guide to what you do in PHP. And then we'll be looking at processing post and also get data if I decide to write the assignments that way. I'll be honest, I haven't finished writing them yet. And we'll also be looking at the session object, which is how a server is able to recognize that you are actually logged on to the server. So if you think about it, you have all these, you might have 100 clients accessing the web server at any one time, and you want some way of identifying a user. And PHP has got a way of doing that. We'll definitely cover how it's doing it. And but for the most part, you don't need to understand how it's doing that. You just need to be comfortable that PHP, once someone starts ordering things or has logged in, the server is able to work out who they are. And I think I've even got a Facebook video, sorry, I'll say that again. I've even got a video of a guy at a DEF CON conference who set about breaking into a Facebook account. Because at the time Facebook was using PHP. I think it's using a modified version of PHP now. But at the time, he worked out a way of tricking the server, Facebook, into letting him log in as someone else. Anyway, I'll post that and hopefully you'll enjoy that talk. So that takes us up to week 11. So at the end of week 11, you should have, if you're one of those amazing students who, are very good and don't have time management issues at all, congratulations. But I'll just talk about those students. By the end of week 11, you should have a website that is structurally sound for search engines, looks good for users, interacts with the user well, and finally is able to process and deliver information back to the user. Now, one thing, I'm hoping this changes at some point in the future, but core teaching servers don't really interact well with databases, and also adding a fifth language essentially to the course, it's pretty much overloaded as it is. So we don't really cover database interaction, but if let's just say you're one of those advanced students and maybe you've done a database concepts or a database subject, we can sort of look at maybe assisting you with that. But what we do, just to complete orders once clients have finished ordering, we're going to get you to write their orders and things into a spreadsheet, which is not an uncommon task. A lot of clients will say, oh, I'm not really comfortable with databases, I don't really know what they are, but they might be talked into getting a spreadsheet. So PHP has got some nice spreadsheet reading and writing programs, and that's pretty much how we'll be finishing up the assignment. So the customer will be checking out, they'll get a nice receipt page presented to them, and their order will be written or appended, I should point this out, appended to an existing spreadsheet that you've set up. But if you look in the original repo I give you, there is basically a blank version of that spreadsheet. So you don't need to create one, you just need to append to that spreadsheet. Anyway, we'll be covering that in one of the final weeks of PHP. There's some kayakers over there. I think they're singing. I don't know if you can hear them. They're sort of a little bit distracting. It's amazing how sound travels over this lake, actually. I can even hear there's like a picnic ground all the way over there, and I can sort of hear them as well. Yeah, so I'll just keep wandering on, and at the next stop I'll talk about the final week, which will be about revision and the exam, I guess.